Income inequality is the unequal distribution of wealth in a society. People are considered wealthy if they have a higher income than the average person. The world has seen an increase in income inequality, with the top 1% of people owning more than half of global wealth and the bottom 50% owning less than 1%. There are many reasons for this disparity in wealth distribution, including lack of opportunity, education, and access to capital. How we live now in a world of income inequality and lack of opportunity. There are many reasons for the income inequality and lack of opportunity. One of the reasons is that people with higher education have a much better chance of getting a job than those who don't have it. Another reason is that there is no social safety net in America. People who lose their jobs don't get unemployment benefits and are not eligible for welfare. The lack of opportunity can also be attributed to the fact that some people do not want to work as hard as others. They may be more likely to use drugs or alcohol so they can escape from their problems, or because they do not want to take on responsibility in life. So what is the social impact of income inequality on individuals? Poverty is the lack of a minimum level of income and resources to ensure basic needs are met. Poverty has many negative impacts on children and adults, including poor health, low literacy rates, and a lack of access to education. Impact on health. Poor nutrition leads to increased rates of illness and death among children. Poor housing conditions can lead to severe illnesses like tuberculosis. Get a professional to check your home several times throughout the year if you think something could be wrong. Lack of clean water can lead to diarrheal disease and other waterborne illnesses that are fatal if untreated. Impact on education. Children living in poverty have less access to quality education than those who are not living in poverty. The poorer the family, the less likely they are able to afford books or uniforms for their children or pay for school supplies. What about impacts on the labor force? The unemployment rate is the percentage of people in the labor force who are looking for work but do not have jobs. The underemployment rate is the percentage of people in the labor force who have a job but would like to work more hours. The unemployment rate and underemployment rate are both important factors when it comes to determining whether or not a country has an adequate amount of jobs for its population. If there are more people without jobs than with jobs, then it is said that there is a high unemployment rate. A high underemployment rate means that there are many people who have jobs but would like to work more hours and take on another job. So what are the impacts on the whole economy? The gross domestic product, GDP, is the total market value of all final goods and services produced in a country in a given year. It is one of the most important economic indicators because it gives an overview of the economic situation. The GDP growth rate measures how fast an economy is growing. So let's go back to our point: how does income inequality affect the economy? Income inequality is a major issue for the whole economy. It is a problem that has been around for decades, but it is not getting any better. Inequality leads to more poverty and less consumption. Poverty leads to less consumption and more crime, which in turn leads to lower economic growth. This cycle continues until the economy crashes. The effects of income inequality are far-reaching. They affect the economy, politics, social institutions, and even culture. Income inequality also affects every aspect of our lives, from where we live to how we spend our money or what kind of education we can afford for our children. What is the government doing to help? The government has been doing a lot to help people who are struggling financially. Some of the programs that are in place are the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, and the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Program, or TANF. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. The SNAP program provides food assistance to low-income families and individuals. It is available to those who meet income and asset guidelines. This program is funded by the federal government and administered by each state according to their own rules. Temporary assistance for needy families. The TANF program provides cash assistance to needy families with children under 18 years of age living at home. Families must meet eligibility requirements such as participation in work activities and meeting income guidelines in order to receive benefits from this program. Wealth inequality is a topic that has been discussed for many years. However, it's only recently that we have seen the impacts of income inequality on society. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And this is not just in America but all over the world. This has led to an increase in crime rates, violence, and social unrest. Income inequality also means that there are fewer opportunities for those who live in poverty. We see this reflected in our education system as well as our workforce. The world is becoming wealthier, and wealth inequality is not an anomaly anymore. Some people are doing well while others are not. It started in the late 1800s with industrialization, globalization, and urbanization. The biggest contributors to this phenomenon have been corporate globalization, technology advancement, and financial markets liberalization. These three things allow for a few people to become very rich at the expense of many. The United States has developed a lot of problems in terms of income inequality and poverty. We have seen an increase in crime rates, violence, and social unrest because the gap between rich and poor is so large. There are not enough opportunities for those who live in poverty because there are too few jobs that pay well enough to get. So what can we do about income inequality and how can we cope with it? The solution is not to get angry, but to get educated. It is not to blame the other person, but to understand them. The solution is not to point fingers and assign blame, but to come together with a sense of mutual responsibility. We should be proactive in understanding the root causes of these problems and find solutions that are tailored for each person's situation. You could also subscribe to our channel to get more educational content like this. LiveRich. Think different, think like rich.